Good afternoon and happy Love Day from the Phillips.
Indeed.
Welcome to Love and Entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Lisa the Boss Lady, and
I am Alan Chef Square Phillips.
y'all listen, this has been a long time coming, and as entrepreneurs, it's important that we talk to you guys about how we stay liking each other and loving each other and maintain our businesses. If you're not aware, I have several businesses. As Lisa the Boss Lady, I am an on-air personality for Stunner Radio, and I co-host on two shows, and I have this show as well. So big shout out to Lisa Dene Live, and shout out to Black Coffee with a Side of Tea. And those are the two shows that I co-host, and this is our first show that we're having by ourselves. I want to say a major shout out before I go any further. I want to say a major shout out to Lisa Dene because she believed in me and pushed me when nobody else did. And if it was not for her, then I would not be sitting here doing this. So big shout out to Lisa Dene. She is an amazing person. If you don't have a Lisa Dene, you need to get one. So my husband, tell me what you do.
Well, I'm a barber, hairstylist. I am a chef, and I'm a travel agent. So I have my hands full for the most part.
And so I am, of course, a travel agent as well. I am a consultant for Bedroom Candy. I'm a consultant for Bye Bye Belly, and I'm a notary as well as being an on-air personality. And I do motivational speaking. So if you need a DJ Khaled, I'm your girl. So with us having all of these businesses between us, it's a little difficult to maintain a love life. And so for that reason, we thought that we would talk to you guys about the things that we do to make it work.
It's not without work. I mean, anything that is worth something, that is substantial about anything, it is work. So it's the same thing as maintaining a marriage. It's just that we take a very direct approach to how we maintain our balance and how we make everything just kind of fit.
So when we first met, Chef Square was not an entrepreneur. He was solely, corporate America, and it was pretty much a job on chasing me down and getting getting time in with me, following behind with all of my businesses. All of my businesses, they take a toll. I'm going to a meeting. I'm going to help a client. I'm going to deliver product. I'm doing something. I'm trading. I'm doing something. And so it began with him. Oh, I need to get my time. I need to get my time. And listen, he is selfish about his time.
I am.
So
I am.
how I need to get my time. I need to get my time. And so I was like, maybe you need to have a business. Maybe you need to have something, that gives you that time that you're trying to get from me that is yours. And we still need to have our time, but maybe you need something with your time. And so I was like, well, what do you like to do? Then came Chef Square because, of course, he likes to cook. I like to cook as well. And it used to be a trade off. I would cook some days, he would cook some days, and me more than him. Now,
I predominantly do a lot of the
and that's kind of one of the things that became a trade off. If I'm at work, 8 to 5, and he's at work and gets off at noon, then he'll cook And that's one less thing that I would have to do at home. So hence we would spend our time together. Mainly the time that we would spend together would be eating dinner together, and it's something that we make sure we do every day. We eat dinner together.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that's a major thing. So the main thing to being entrepreneurs in a relationship with both entrepreneurs is finding something that you both can do together every single day. Every day, something that you do together. And it doesn't necessarily have to be at the same time every single day. The same time is ideal, but if you're a time management person like me that needs help with that, then the same time every day may not work. So
So I mean, there is a balance. It is a very big balance. So most of the time, I think what we do is it may not necessarily be the same time, but dinner time is dinner time.
yeah,
Dinner
it's in the
time is
usual
yeah.
vicinity.
I mean, we have a 45-minute window of dinner swing. So like in between, this time and this time within a 45-minute shot, we're gonna eat dinner, and that's gonna be the end of it.
Right. And it can start off as small as something like that, as eating dinner together. Because whether you guys realize it or not, you need that time. You are with your significant other, and y'all need time together. You of course need to work on your business, because I'm never gonna tell you to neglect that, but I'm never gonna tell you to neglect your spouse either. That's definitely something you don't want to do. You don't ever want to neglect your spouse. And it is possible to be a successful entrepreneur, mompreneur, wifepreneur without neglecting your spouse.
You know what? I think one of the very big things is cutoff time. Okay, everybody knows that every business that you go to, they have an opening and then they have a closing time. And developing a closing time for your business is key. And it's very ideal because you want to be able to treat your business as anybody else would in corporate America, because it is just that substantial. So once you hit your closing time, then that's it. Anything else after closing time, if you just decide to want to do that, I will charge extra. That's just me. But I mean,
That's good. That's good. What he said is very key, because if you have a shut off time, then that's giving you more time with your spouse. More time after the children are asleep, for you to have one-on-one time with your spouse, because that is very, very important. It is important for you to go on vacation with your spouse and
yes,
turn everything off, to literally be on vacation.
yes,
How do you do that? I'm so glad you asked. Literally tell everybody, I am on vacation from now to then, and stick to that. Don't answer any phone calls, any business phone calls. Don't do any well, I'm gonna just squeeze this. Don't do that. And I'm telling you that I was one of those people that it was hard for me to shut off and not do it. But you need that. You need that, because
yes,
you're better for your customers when you do that. You're better for your mom. You're better for your children. You're better all around for everybody when you get that vacation time and just relax and don't do anything but relax. Even if you're up the street, y'all, we're in the Woodlands right now. We are 8 miles from our home.
mm,
But we are not at home, and we are not accepting calls. We are not doing business. We are just relaxing.
yes, definitely. Well, you have to understand this. You are nothing to your clients if you're uptight and you're stressed. Having a vacation is one of the sole purposes on why most people become entrepreneurs. The bad part about it is most of the time when you get into the hustle and bustle of the daily grind, you forget about actually taking time off to recharge and rejuvenate. You have to have that time. Anything else is not going to do anything for you but turn you into somebody that you probably don't want to be.
Definitely not. And you won't realize it until you do it. Until you go somewhere and you have that time to recharge, you won't realize how bogged down and how stressed and possibly overworked you were until you go and actually do it. We went to Port Aransas.
Yeah.
And when we left, he was driving and I fell asleep in the car. I fell asleep before we even got there. Had no earthly idea that we went across water and we're on an island until I woke up the next morning and we were going to go get something to eat. And I was looking for places around where we were. And I was like, are we on an island? Because it kept saying ferry. And I'm like, oh, so we're on an island. And he was like, oh yeah, we drove over water while you were sleeping. Guys, you should never be that tired. You should never be that worn out. But that was the best 3 days ever. We did nothing but stay up and talk and bond and remember that we were friends before we were anything else.
That is I think the most important thing when it comes down to a marriage, a partnership. You have to be friends. The reason being because friends are privy to everything.
Right.
They know the ins, the outs. They know what you stand for, what you don't stand for, what you like, what you don't like, what you will take, what you won't take. And just reminiscing and realizing that at the end of the day, maintaining a friendship inside of your relationship definitely is key.
That's good stuff. I love you. Make up. Truth. Melissa said that is truth. Yes, it is. Hey, Melissa. Thank you for tuning in. This is beautiful. Thank you, Tina. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate you guys so much for tuning in.
Definitely. You know what though, Tina? I'm gonna tell you something.
We are definitely on the
It's
same page.
not as if this wasn't a work that has actually been pounded out, stoned. I'm talking about from laid the rebar on the foundation, built it from the ground up. Literally, we worked at this, and the harmony is you're seeing the fruit of 7-year friendship, which turns into what you see now.
A beautiful marriage. Friendship is key. Yes, LaFlower, it is. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is my Planet family, y'all. This is my Planet Marketing family tuning in. Shakira. True words spoken here. Thank you, my favorite Dallas Cowboys fan. Listen, y'all, Shakira has the shirts. She made our Lysa the Boss Lady shirt and our Chef Square shirt. And she also made our shirts for Love and Entrepreneurship. We have not shown you those yet. We will show them to you next Sunday when we are here with Tiffany McIntosh and Calvin McIntosh. Coach Mac and the silent assassin, Mr. McIntosh. We are here to hear from them because they are they're entrepreneurs in love as well, and they are making it work, and we want to hear what they have to say too.
Right.
Yeah, my mother in love is here. Friendship is the foundation of beautiful relationships.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, Ma. Yes, it is. And I have to thank you so much for raising him to be who he is, because that's a big thing too. It's a big thing. It's according to how you were raised. It's according to your work ethic. It's according to who you are as a person. And we are so in tune with each other. We were both raised similar. You know, both of our parents been married for more than 40 years. Both of our parents, mom's in the church, dad kind of, and both of our parents have the same kind of work ethic and morals and ethics. And I think that's the way that we were raised has to do with how in tune we are. We were both raised similar, and we're both kind of similar people. He is very much an intellectual person, and so am I. And a lot of times when I'm around people, they don't relate to me the way that I talk, the way that I think. Just they don't relate to the type of person I am, but he does. And that's the main thing. And that's why we became such good friends, because he relates to me. That when I say something, he knows exactly what I mean. I don't have to explain it to him. And a lot of times I have to explain it to people. but I don't have to explain it to him. And so it means a lot when you can be best friends with someone.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. The thing about it is, it's the level of communication. I think that is what is the key thing. Is the level of communication. We don't just talk. We talk to each other. We don't talk at each other, and we make sure that at all points that need to be said are said. They're put out there. All concerns, we let it go.
And it's understood. Because a lot of times when you speak with your spouse, and you get it all out, like he said, sometimes what you say is different than what they hear. And so what you have to do, if you feel that may be, even if you don't feel that may be the case, because I have to let him know, sometimes he doesn't know that that's the case. He will say something, I'll say, this is what I heard. Oh, okay, no, that's not what I meant. And that's important. It's important for you to let someone know what you heard so that they can let you know if that's what they meant, because a lot of misunderstandings can be cleared up like that.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Communication, so key. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for tuning in.
I mean, but what you have to understand is like inside of a friendship, you get the unadulterated communication.
Yes. Yes, it is
Not
everything.
not the false face that you put on because you're trying to get in the door. We're talking about
Really?
down dirty. Hey, what's going on?
Exactly.
This is what it is. This is how it is. And actually be able to communicate that effectively. You can do that with a friend. Most people get bogged down in a relationship because, oh, that's my man, but that may be your man, but that's not your friend. So you don't have the level of communication that it takes to actually be substantial and actually take you farther because he's not your friend.
So, tip number 1 from Lysa the Boss Lady in Chef Square: be friends. Be friends. And if you weren't really friends, we were friends for 7 years before we got married. If you weren't friends for 7 years before you got married, then make it a point to be your spouse's friend. Make it a point to be their friend. If you weren't already just that deep friends, make it a point to start being their friend. And what we mean by that is, just like he said, when you have a friend, that's someone that you can talk to. No holds barred. You don't have to fake. You don't have to front. And when you are that person with your spouse and you guys can talk and y'all are on that level and on that page, then you'll be able to get your communication on point and where it needs to be.
Exactly. Because the thing about it is open communication. I'm talking about friendship level open communication. The unadulterated truth that you're not afraid to say. That type of communication. That is what you need.
So, tip number, friendship. Everything. That is Coach Mac on here, y'all. Friendship is everything. And when I tell you everything, listen, when I'm talking to him, and sometimes I'm like, girl, and he's like, girl, what happened? He doesn't even get mad at me anymore because he prefers that I'm able to speak with him so freely than getting mad because I said girl.
I mean, it takes a level of understanding, and because I do have an understanding, I just don't get offended by that because it is what it is. But I would rather her be that comfortable with me than to be that comfortable with somebody else.
That part. That part. Definitely. Because you know what they say about a shoulder to cry on. I'm not going to finish it. Y'all know what I mean. So that's important. So tip number 2, which I will say it first, but we're going to bring it back. Tip number 2, have time for your spouse. Make sure that you designate a good time for your spouse, that you and your spouse spend together every single day. It doesn't have to be the same time, but make sure every single day that there is time that you have alone with your significant other, whether it's just dinner time or dinner and a movie. We do dinner, and we watch about 2 movies every day before we go to bed. So our wind down time, that's ours. So when I come home, he
Mhm.
usually has food cooked, and he'll bring me my plate, and we will watch. We will try to watch 2 movies. I go to bed early like an old lady, so sometimes 2 movies happens, sometimes it does not.
Well, it just depends because sometimes when we do that, the first movie, the reason why we end up watching the second movie is because what we do during that time is we download our day.
Right.
So it's how was your day? What did you do? How did things go? Those things. I reiterate what I did, moves that I've made, things that I've done, and we download our day. And once we get past that point, then it's the second movie, and yeah, after that, then it's pretty much
Pretty
bedtime.
much lights out. So that's important too, guys. The time is very important, and that's something that we had to work on. It's something that we had to learn. It's not something we're sitting here preaching to you that we just up and did. We didn't, we had to work on it because his goal was to free up some time so that I could have it with him. But I would put other things in that spot because you guys know we are network marketers. A full schedule means that you're doing your job, right? You're working your business, right? And so I have several businesses. So as soon as he would free up a spot, I would fill it right back up with some business.
Oh, that used to burn me up.
And he told me one
Oh,
time, he said, "You're a time pusher." And I was like,
yes,
what?
because I could free up maybe a day, right? And I could blink twice, and she will have packed it from sun up to sundown.
Maybe not from sun up to sundown. I would,
12 to 16 hours out of 24-hour period.
I would do that, and it's hard to not do that. It's hard to not be a workaholic. It's hard to not do that. And I had to learn when he told me that, I was like, what's a time? What do you mean? What's a time pusher? And he was like, I will free up your schedule and you will put something in that spot. And I'm like, you know what? I'm guilty of that. So I had to go buy a planner. If you do not have a planner, buy a planner. Write in it and use it. It may be a step thing because it was steps for me. I had to buy the planner, then write in it, then use it.
Oh, you know what? Mom, I'm gonna tell you that is a good point.
Yes,
we do that.
We do.
We actually do that. There at least twice a month. At least twice a month, we make it our point to have dinner, go out and have dinner, and actually enjoy each other's company. That is so key, because you figure we both have businesses and we're both moving around and we're both really actively working our businesses, getting things off the ground, making things move. And so what we have to do is we have to sometimes go out, catch a drink, and talk as friends.
Right.
Not as business owners, not as Mr. and Mrs., as friends. Like literally leave all of the titles in the car and go in the restaurant as friends and enjoy each other's company and talk about fun stuff.
Right. And not talk about business. And sometimes when you first start doing it, you'll have to catch yourself. You have to tell yourself, okay, no, I'm not gonna talk about business. Or you'll start and me, when I would start and then I'll be like, oh wait, this is not business. And it's all of it is something that you have to get used to, guys. It's not anything that you could just jump into and do overnight. all of it is, it takes time.
It takes time, and it takes practice,
Yes.
and it takes determination. But well, I mean, I have this thing where I try to push as hard in my marriage as I do in my businesses. So the level of energy that I take to attack each day, I take that same energy to attack my marriage to make sure that it is just as effective as any business that I may run.
And that's I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is working on your marriage, working on it, harder than you work on your business, because it's important for you to do that. You don't want anybody to feel like your business is important than they are, and when they express that to you, a lot of times we as women, we as independent Black women, let's keep it real, sometimes we say, oh well, he just intimidated by my success, or something like that. um let's not say that that's what the issue is. Let's sit down and listen and see if the issue is that we are truly being too busy to appreciate our spouse. And I can say that I was guilty of being too busy to appreciate him and date him. And when he brought it to my attention, to thank God, I was smart enough to say, hey, this is true, and to go about changing it. And that's the reason that we're in front of you.
This, but you know what? At the same time, too, I'm guilty of basic. Sometimes I can be a bit insensitive, or I can come off as though I really don't care, or hard or harsh, and I am totally oblivious to it. And a lot, she would hear me talking, and she would be like, "Okay, you might not want to say that. Might want to say that like this," and I'd be like, "Okay."
You have to be open. You have to be open to what your spouse is telling you. And if you feel offended by what they're telling you, then do the tactic that I said. Let them know what you heard versus what they said. And that can get a lot of misunderstandings taken care of before they turn into something big.
Right. The one thing that we do is we attack the problem together, and we pound it out, but we make sure that it is totally taken care of when we settle it. All points are known, any misconceptions are cleared up. All is right with the world after it is all said and done, and it's cleared, and then we move on to the next.
So stay tuned, guys. We are going to have a quick commercial break, and we will come back and tell you what we are doing next Sunday on Love and Entrepreneurship. Stay right there. I think we need to move this over. Oh, it's perfect. You think?
Mm.
It's so cute. I love this session. And we are back with Love and Entrepreneurship. Do you want to tell them who's going to be here next week?
Um, you actually know more about her than
You're
me.
right. You're right. We did. We met them. You met them once. Next week we are going to have Coach Tiffany McIntosh, and her husband Calvin McIntosh, the quiet assassin. I say that because he is very, very quiet, but when he does speak, he speaks powerfully. And Coach Max comes out the gate powerful. Um, And I really, really want to hear from them on how they handle love and entrepreneurship, because what we're saying, it may not work for what you guys have going on. So we're going to keep going forward. We're going to keep finding out the information that we can find out, because just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean that you have to be lonely. It doesn't mean that you can't date. It doesn't mean that you can't get married, and it doesn't mean that you can't be in love. So we're going to find out everything that we can to accommodate love and entrepreneurship. So that's something that's important to us. It's something that we're passionate about, and I see that you guys are passionate about it, because you're tuning in to hear it, and I appreciate from the bottom of my heart. We truly appreciate everybody that's tuning in and supporting. Major shout out to Tiffany Franklin. She beat this face, y'all. She did such an amazing job. She does makeup, and she does makeup classes too. So if you want to know how to do it like she did it, she reach out to Tiffany Franklin. Hey, Lee Allen, happy Valentine's. You might need to learn. Melissa, you know how to do love and entrepreneurship. You just need a good partner. And that's another thing. Guys, we have been brainstorming all day about things that we're going to do. So some of the things that we have coming up later this year, we will have our 2-year wedding anniversary on November 27th of this year. It's right after Thanksgiving. And we decided kind of earlier today that we were going to have a couples getaway, and we were also going to make it a love and entrepreneurship getaway. So if you are a couple of entrepreneurs and you want to get away in November,
come on.
We are welcoming you. Thank you, First Lady Dent. Thank you, Isha. I'm telling you guys, we're going to keep you in the loop on everything. Another thing that we have going on that we're going to do is we are going to do speed dating for entrepreneurs. So if you think that if you think it's difficult to date as an entrepreneur, we're going to have a speed dating event. Hey, Tiffany. Girl, listen, this face has got my head pretty big, okay? Yes, First Lady. I hope you guys come on the couples retreat. So the first thing is that we're gonna do, definitely before the couples retreat, we're gonna do the speed dating. So if you're an entrepreneur and you find it difficult to find another entrepreneur to date, then we're going to have a speed dating event only for single entrepreneurs, and that is coming up sooner than later. We're looking at maybe May to do the speed dating event. And so stay tuned for that, because it's going to be a blast. It is very difficult, Melissa. It's very difficult to date as an entrepreneur. Before my husband and I got together, it was difficult because a lot of people that don't have an entrepreneurial mindset, the first thing they'll say, just get a real job or just get a regular job. And that is the worst thing that you can say to an entrepreneur. Amen. Because you guys that's entrepreneurs, you know how we feel when people say that to us. And one thing about Alan, when we were dating and he was not an entrepreneur necessarily, he didn't do that. He didn't tell me just go get a real job. He was patient with me. Sometimes when I was going from city to city, going to marketing meetings, he would go with me. And he would just, when the meeting was over, we would, do our thing. We would go dinner or, go wherever. He would go with me. So another thing, definitely third tip, third love and entrepreneurship tip, patience. Be patient with your spouse. No, they don't. They do not understand the grind. Yes. It's very difficult, super difficult. So that's what we're here for.
I mean, we actually make it look a lot easier, but it was some work though. It really was some work. And what we are doing now is just taking in the awe of the work that we put in at the very ground level. But yes, definitely tip number 3, be patient with your spouse. And understand that you have to give somebody time enough to actually take care of the problem,
Right.
because learned behavior takes long periods of time to break. So, and most of the time when you get into that situation, you're into it with somebody that has been an entrepreneur for years on end, and they have this regiment of what they do and how they do it, and at the end of the day, like, they're still going to do what they're going to do because that's what they're used to doing. And you have to be patient enough to point it out, and be patient enough to let them handle it.
And that's, I mean, that's good. That's good. That's a good point, because when you have made a habit, habits take 21 days to form, right? So it takes that long to break one, and that's if you're replacing it with another, right? So, say for instance, smokers. If you've been smoking for a long time, are you just gonna up and say, okay, well, I'm just not gonna smoke tomorrow? I think not. So the best thing to do is, when you're trying to break a bad habit, replace it with a good one, but you have to give yourself time. 21 days. 21 days of doing the same thing creates a new pattern, a new record. And listen to that. 21 days. That's a considered amount of time, because you are actually making a new pattern, a new habit. Just like, I had weight loss surgery in 2019, and a lot of things that a lot of times people don't realize, just the same with entrepreneurship, it doesn't happen overnight. You didn't gain the weight overnight, so why would you expect it to fall off overnight? You didn't build your business overnight, so why do you expect for your profit to just pop up overnight and fall in your lap? And it's the same thing with a marriage and a relationship. When you are building your business as an entrepreneur, you know that is the biggest and the most important thing, is to build your business. And when you're building your business, you have a work ethic, you're faithful, you're dedicated. And you have to do the same with a marriage, the same with a relationship. You have to build
Definitely.
it. You have to be dedicated. You have to, put the work in. And it may sound like it's hard, but the way that things have happened with us, it's been nothing but building blocks, where every single thing that happens, every obstacle, any problem that we face and that we solve, it does nothing but push us higher, as a married couple, as entrepreneurs, as individuals. It does nothing but build us up and make us better. So you decide, do you want to put in the work, or do you want to be mad because you're an entrepreneur and you can't date anybody?
Oh, I would like to actually add into that. Um, Tip number 4: don't be afraid to put the time in to make it work.
That's good. That's good.
Definitely. If I can't tell you nothing else, there is not a shortcut to marriage. It's not.
Ooh,
You have
y'all.
to be willing to make the sacrifice, to put the time in to build it the way it's supposed to go, and make sure that everything is laid the way it's supposed to. Because if not, it's just going to fall and it's going to fold. A good foundation is sturdy, and it takes time in order to make it sturdy. So you have to be willing to put the time in to make it work.
Come on today, Pastor Phillips. Because if you're building a house, right, your foundation has to be sturdy. It has to be steady, to hold what you're building. When you're building your marriage, you're not building a straw hut, right? You're building a brick house. So your foundation has to be laid. It has to be laid firm. It has to be solid. It has to be able to hold up what you're building, because nobody wants no mess. And so if you don't want no mess, you're gonna have to, go through what you have to go through. And it may sound hard, but I promise you it's not. I've enjoyed every minute of everything that we have gone through, the ups and the downs. Every single thing that we have gone through in our marriage, I'm enjoying it. And you know what? I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next, and how far everything is going to go, because it doesn't matter how far down you are, because if you're down, the only place that you can go is up.
Well, I mean, sometimes down is the best place to be.
So you find yourself when you're down.
I mean, when you figure that anything that is substantial has happened, most genius works, period, whether if it's works of art, whether if it's works of science or any type of industry, most of those things were birthed out of downtime.
That's true. That's good.
So don't be afraid to be down. Just make sure you pick yourself back up.
So before we're gonna go to break in just one moment, but before we go to break, tell me, if you could think of one thing that you would do better, what would you do
One thing that I would do better.
from the beginning?
Um, if there was one thing that I could have done, like just one thing that I could have done better, um, mm,
He'll tell you what he did, what he could have done better, and I will tell you what I could have done better right after this.
Are you looking for a fun and exciting night out with great food, entertainment, and daiquiris? Look no further than Daiquiri Soul, Houston's premier daiquiri shop, restaurant, and more, located in the Northwood Village Center at 355 Greens Road in Houston, Texas. If you love a good daiquiri and enjoy a variety of flavors, this is the place for you. Offering Creole, Cajun, and Southern cuisine with nightly live entertainment and friendly customer service. Social distancing and COVID-19 protocols are in place. So surrender all your cares and let Daiquiri Soul whisk you away with their Southern hospitality. For more information, visit Daiquiri Soul on Facebook or place an order through Grubhub. Stop by Daiquiri Soul today and tell them Stunner Radio sent you.
Thank you, and we are back with Love and Entrepreneurship. And we were waiting for Chef Square to tell us what he would have done better or differently. What you would have done better or differently.
um, I think for me, for the time, I think I did. Um, I think I did what I had to do. If there was anything that I would have done different, though, I probably would have handled a couple of situations different. I don't think I would have fundamentally done anything different because that really was what made our relationship.
Right. I think what you mean is that you would have had more of an open
Well, I can't say no more of an open mind because I always had an open
mind.
mind.
Because I know what you're talking about.
But I just think that I would have. There were a couple of situations I could have handled different.
What you're referring to, I think that I would have handled that situation differently as well. What I would have done differently was just be more open to how the other person feels and not be so laser focused on getting the outcome that I don't remember the people around me that need me as well, that need my time as well. I definitely would think more about that, which I do now, because a lot of times we as women, as mothers, we think that the end result is going to cancel out anything that had to happen before you get there. Because you, as a mom, you want your kids to have the best. So you're thinking, okay, well, if I go and work 50 hours this week and 60 hours next week, and then they're going to get everything that they need and everything that they want, and they're not going to want or need for anything, then that's okay. When really, sometimes they needed you at home. Sometimes they needed that time with you. And, sometimes we don't focus on that. So that's something that I had to work on and that I do better now when I'm doing something. When I take on a project, I have known to jump in head first and just completely immerse myself in it. And I have learned to include others in that, include me time, include time with my children, include time with my husband, include time with my parents, you know, and not just immerse myself in everything. So in that way, I can say that I have grown and I'm proud of myself. And Chef Square has a lot to do with that because he brought it to my attention. And it's all well and good to bring it to their attention, but you have to be open. You know, you have to be open to what they're telling you and be willing to change it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was me having, well, there was a lot of things that I just didn't understand. And until I started actually doing it and having to have to the workload that it requires to run businesses. Once I started doing that, I understood and I adjusted my way of thinking due to that, which that has a lot to do with you.
So the main thing that we want to, impress upon you guys is time, patience, willingness to do the work,
And
and
no shortcuts.
and friendship. Friendship is key. Friendship is the foundation of any marriage. So what we're going to leave you with is some homework. So if you're ready for some homework, this is what we challenge you to do. We challenge all you entrepreneurs out there to put yourself some me time on the calendar and put yourself some date time on the calendar. So what we're looking for from you guys is 3 days a week of having me time and spouse time, whether it's a date night or a movie or just eating dinner together, that it all counts. All of it counts. So 3 me times and 3 me and spouse times for next week. And next week we are going to have Tiffany McIntosh and Calvin McIntosh, and we're gonna talk with them about their tactics and what they do to make it work. And I see Coach Mac all the time, her and Mr. McIntosh on dates, so I know that they definitely believe in date nights as well. So we want to make sure that everybody else is doing their homework and following suit so that we can all be successful at love and entrepreneurship. So until next Sunday at 3 o'clock, everybody have fun. Happy Love Day. And if you got your spouse, your significant other some gifts, definitely go on Love and Entrepreneurship on Facebook and post those gifts. If you're out tonight, if you're on a date, go on Love and Entrepreneurship on Facebook or love.and.entrepreneurship on Instagram and post those pics. Hashtag Love and Entrepreneurship Valentine's Day. So until then, happy Valentine's Day, y'all, and have a great night.
I got so much for you, baby. I got so much for you, baby. Yeah. I got so much for you, baby.
If you're looking for healthy meal prep, family-style meals, or catering for your next event, look no further than the East Traveling Square Kitchen with Chef Square, Alan Phillips, specializing in soul food, family-style dining, and southern flavor. Chef Square can adhere to dietary needs like keto and bariatric meal prep without compromising on taste. Take advantage of weekly meal plans like the Starter Pack, 5 meals for $75 with 3 entree choices. Additional meal plans and contact-free delivery is available. Contact Chef Square of the East Traveling Square Kitchen today at 832-495-8836 and tell them Stunner Radio sent you.